Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, Edward, we can see your screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, Ken. So I would like to talk about an area here in Ghana called Owabi. So within Owabi, we have two types of species available. That's the dam, the river body, the water body that actually provides water source to most of the area that's within Ashanti region. And aside that, there's also a forest reserve around that particular area for most birds. They have about over 100 species of birds available within that forest area. So it has been there for a very long time. And what story do you actually want to tell in relation to this particular area using satellite imagery? Right now, as we all know, Digital Earth Africa has actually made it possible for us to have the historical data for all the satellite images that is available from Landsat up to Sentinel. And the Landsat actually starts from 1985 onwards up to 2021 currently as we talk. So using the map platform, you can actually work throughout this historical satellite imagery to see what actually happening. So when you by the map of Africa, you get a nice interface. Then when you come to the explore map, at the surface reflectance section, you're actually going to get explored to all the daily surface reflectance that we have for the data sets in the sandbox. And it's also analysis ready data. So that means all the atmospheric correction and topographic correction has been done. You don't actually have to do all those corrections again. So this is the area that I'd like us to talk to. That's the Owabi Dam, which actually have a forest reserve also around it and also serves as a water source for people. Because of internet, I already preloaded the imagery into it. So the first image was the Landsat 5, which actually was 11th January 1986. So as you can see, we have the Owabi Dam area. So this is the forest reserve, and this is the river body there in 1986. And around it, you can see that there are a lot of forests around this area. And the urbanization or the growing area was actually at the southeastern part of the country, which is here. And in most development countries, you notice that as time goes on, because it's developing, people will start actually building for us. So how can this historical analysis actually help us to know where this urbanization is moving towards the different years? So this image was captured in 1986. The next image that I'll view here is the same Landsat 5, but 1998, that's 7th of March, 1998. And as you can see, while the image is loading, you notice that right now, within 1986, the urbanization was actually around this area, but currently is moving towards the forest reserve area and the water dam also. So to make it easier for us, we will use the compared to. And to use the compared to, I'll turn the Landsat 5, the 1986 data also on. Then I'll turn the compared to on. So with the compared to, using the comparison tool, this arrow will show up here. Then you see that the Landsat 5, that's the 1998 is on the right side, which is here. Then the 1986 is on the left side, which is there. So using the comparison tool, you can actually compare to see where the changes has actually appeared. So you notice that right now in 1986, all these areas, the urbanization there, but they weren't approaching the forest reserve. But if you look at 1986, you notice that around the forest reserve, right now, people have started building and they are moving towards the forest reserve. So using this comparison tool, it can actually give you the sense of what is happening within the expanse of 8 years, you can actually see that there are people moving towards the forest reserve. Let's turn off the comparison to. Then we move on to the other year, which is Landsat 7. And for the Landsat 7, the image that we got that was very much clear was 21st April 2002. So having the Landsat 11, you can actually also see that right now urbanization is moving towards the forest reserve area. One great thing that we can also use without using the comparison tool is to use the opacity. The maps works in the form of a hierarchy. So right now, looking at this, the images that I've arranged here, right now the Landsat 7 is on, meaning that the Landsat 5 is beneath the Landsat 7. So there's no way you are going to see that particular image. So a perfect way that you can do, apart from using the comparison tool, is to use the opacity. With the opacity, you can actually completely turn one particular surface off. So the 2002 image, when I use the opacity of 0, you can see that right now the 1998 is beneath the 2002. So using the opacity also, you can also start appreciating to know areas that there has been change over the particular period of time. Using the opacity, so as you can see that there's actually a match interference going on. So you can actually turn the 98 off, then go with the 96. So once the 96 is on, we can actually start using the opacity to actually see the changes of areas that has now been moving towards the urbanization, which has actually started moving towards the river body. So let's look at where my mouse is moving around the river body, this side. Within 1986, there was not much building around that area, although you can see some sand and everything. But let's compare it to 2002. You can see that when built up areas are coming. Forget about the clouds, built up areas are now developing within this area. So using that opacity also, you can actually also have a clear idea to know areas that has been affected by urbanization. Now we move on to the following year, which would be Landsat 8. So Landsat 8 can actually, that's 2013. So let's see what is happening within 2013 for this particular forest reserve. As you can see, urbanization is now currently moving faster to this area. It's actually moving very quickly as compared to the baseline that we had, which is 1986. Using the opacity, you can actually see what is happening. So you notice that a lot of places has actually developed over a period of years between 1986 and 2013 for these areas. So having this now, we can actually do it. And you will see that in 1986, all these areas didn't have anything around. All these areas, they didn't have any building or any development around those areas. But if you come to 2013, you notice that that place has actually been moving. Having these two actually let you know the direction where urbanization is actually moving with this imagery. So there's something happened in 2013. Now let's move on to the Sentinel, which we started having it from 2017 also. So the Sentinel data will come. And as you can see, within the Sentinel data, we are having a lot of areas that is actually being covered and being developed. And you notice that it's actually approaching the forest reserve. Urbanization is actually approaching the forest reserve. So what we can do to make the compare, because we noticed that 1986, there were a lot of forest area. So what we can do is to compare it with 2013, because 2017 and 2013 are two separate years. So you can compare that using the comparison tool. So first of all, make sure that those two layers are turned on and no other layer is turned on, only those two layers. Then you will click on the compare tool. Once you click on the comparison tool, it will ask you which. So right now, the Sentinel was put on the right button, and the Landsat, all of them are on the right. So you can guide it by clicking on the left. So right now, the 2013 imagery is on the left side. Then the 2017 from Sentinel is on the right side. So right now you can see, you can easily do a easily comparison. Then you notice that, oh, okay. So you see the direction where urbanization is moving towards. So this is 2017 and 2018. Let's turn the comparison to off. Now, let's see in 2020. 2021. So this image was taken in 26 January 2021. Let's see what is happening. So you have to turn this off, and now you load the 2021 Sentinel imagery. So as you can see, all these areas, right now, all these areas has now been developed, meaning right now they've circled around the forest reserve. In the expanse from 2017 to 2021, let's turn those two on and do a comparison. So with a comparison, you put the 2021 on the left side, then you put the 2017 on the right side. Now, let's see. So as you can see, whilst it's loading, you notice that these areas, and these areas are now being moved. People are now moving to the forest reserve areas. Sorry for the slow internet, but it will come all of them will load very soon. So as you can see, in 2021, all these areas are now developed. In the expanse of 4 years, urbanization has now catch up to the forest reserve. Having an idea of how urbanization is moving with this pictorial view will actually also give us an idea of what decision makers also should do. Because even in 4 years, right now, people are circling around the forest reserve. What will happen within the next 2 to 3 years? Because as you all know, once we reach a particular obstacle, in the beginning, all of us will say we are going to protect it. But before you realize, people will start encroaching it gradually. So with having this pictorial view of what is happening between 2017, so check 2021 and 2017, you notice that Earth observation historical trend analysis can actually help us to predict what will happen within the near future, even from 5 years upwards coming. And having this storyline also will actually be very useful for decision makers, because with this, they will actually appreciate and know how urbanization is moving towards a particular trend. All these images you've actually designed, or this story that you've actually come by it, you can actually create a link and share it with a link, and maybe save it somewhere or share it with anyone who will be interested in this particular story. So how can you do that? You go to the share/print, you click on it, a URL will be developed for you here, then you click on copy. When I click on copy, what I've just done here, so I've done the split, I've just used the split button here. People will appreciate the split, what I've done there, and when I share it with you, what I just did with the split, what you are seeing right now is what you are going to get. So let me share this in the chat with all of you. Then once you click on it, what I'm seeing right now is what you get. And another method, not to use the compare to, but to use a storyline, and then the compare to, is to use the storytelling map, which is here. So how does that one also work? For us to use the storytelling map, you have to turn on all the layers. So you have to turn off all the layers. Then the one that you want to use should be active. So for this, what I'll do is I'll turn off all the layers. Then the only layer that will be available will be the Landsat 5. And let's zoom in a little. Yes, and let's come it here. So you want so that the image can actually load very quickly. Then I'll click on the storyline. The first thing that will come is to be captured scene. So the captured scene, you wait for the image to load. So once you wait for the image, then you click on the capture scene. So at this capture here, you can give it a title for that particular image that you are going to work with. So I can put here 19, urbanization, maybe 1986. Any name that will make your topic catchy, that you can put it there. Then maybe you can give up a brief story. So our bed, dam, and forest reserve area in the 1986. In 1986, sorry, in 1986. And you can even, if you have a picture, every story map can actually attach to it, then you click on save. So you've had that one. Then you turn this one off, then you turn this imagery on. Sorry for the internet, that's why it's not loading, but to load very quickly. Then you can click on the capture scene. Then you can still continue urbanization. Then you give the year 1998. 1998, then you provide the story. So trend in settlement. Settlement, something like that. Then you close it. Then you turn this particular off. Then you come to the Landsat 7. So you can still continue urbanization. 2000, 2002. Then you can save it. Then the next one, you click on this one. Then you click on capture scene. So here I'm just going to make it 2013. You turn it off. You turn this one on. 2017. You can provide a body, make a nice design, turn it on. Then you turn the 2021 on, capture the scene, then 2021, then you save it. So right now, after you save it, you can click on the play to see what is happening. So once you click on the play, it will bring what you captured. So 1986 has been captured. The storyline is there. You provide all the information. Then you click on next. 1998 is captured. When you click on the next, 2022 is captured. So having this play, you can capture everything. Maybe you wanted to do a comparison. So between 1986 and 2021, you wanted to do a comparison. Just click on the comparison tool, then go to 1986, then let that one come to on the right side, depending on where you want it to come. So with this comparison tool, what you do is, because you have both sides, you can just click on captured, then mention comparing 1986 and 2001 imagery. So you have that one there, then you can provide a brief story around it, then you click on save. So when you come to the play, when you reach the last session, you actually see that the comparing button is there for you to compare between those two different years. One great thing is after you create this story, you can actually share. So by clicking on the share, a generated URL will be generated for you. So you wait for the generated URL to be generated. I'll copy it. Then you can put it on the chat. So if you are going to do a presentation or if you are going to show it with other people's, once you have this link, you can save it somewhere. So as soon as you click on it, what you just design or what you want to display to the other people will also be shown to you here. So this is one of the things that you can actually use the Digital Light Africa map to do, actually going through the steps of, and not everything, so but there's notebook, but you can actually use this particular story to tell where you want that, where an area you want to get a story out from. So this is something that I wanted us to discuss today about it. Please, any other question on it before you will let someone give us an area that he wants us to go and also see the historical trend? Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Any volunteer? Yes, David.
As for flexibility, I think it's an area that has been going quite a lot of changes in the few years. It's been disappearing and coming back again.
So Edward, there's one proposal by Eileen, and then there's a proposal by David. I wish David could post in the chat so that it's easier for you to find it.
Okay, yeah, okay, I've seen it. From Seven Folk Dam. Okay, so let's do that. So this is how you go. So once you load the maps, because I don't know where this river is, the best option is to use the search. So Seven Folk. So let's wait on this and see. Hey, okay, then let me go for River Tana.
I've just realized the dams, the Seven Folk dams, there are many dams. So I've written an example, Masinga Dam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Masinga. Okay. Kenya.
Yes.
Okay, because there's another one in Central African Republic. Okay.
Ah.
So you go to Masinga. Oh, okay. So this is the Masinga Dam that you have. Very great. So this is what you do. The first thing is to explore the maps. So let's move on to satellite imagery. We want the historical trend. So you go with the Landsat 5 first. Click on that. So the next first option, after clicking on that, then you click on filter by location, then you select the area of interest that you want. So once you use the filter by location, it will actually pick the nearest image for that particular area that we are after. So this is the imagery. So this is 2011 for Landsat 8, but you want the historical. So let's go to 1984. So these are the yellow ones that you are seeing are the available images within the 1990s and 80s era. So let's pick this first one for that area. Wow, there are a lot of clouds. So you can move. Wow. So for 27th August 1984, we have a clear image for the area of interest. That's Masinga. We've had this one. here. Wow, nice area. Then the next thing is to add another imagery. So this 1984, let's go to Landsat 7 and look for 2000. Let's pick within an area of 2000 for that particular area. So I can still, so once I load the Landsat 5, I can just turn it off. Then I'll click on the filter by location, then I'll select that particular area again. So filter by location, select the area, perfect. So I'm now querying it for Landsat 7 because we don't know the time the image passes. It's always great to use the filter by location to be able to help you know the areas that you are going to pick. So whilst it's loading for the Landsat 7, we can still also come back. So right now for the Landsat 7, we have the 1998, which is very cloudy. So you can click on the image here. Then you can specify the years. We are after 2000. So you go to the 2000 year to see which particular day we are going to get a clear image for the area, Masinga. Sorry for the slow internet this morning. It will still load for us. So you can have a feel of how that area will actually look over the years that we have. So whilst it's loading, let's go to Landsat 8 and also add the Landsat 8 data. We start from 2013. So there are other ways that you can actually filter through the imagery. One is to use this date timeline, which is down here, or you can turn that one off, then use this one also. With this one, if you have a mouse, it will actually be great to use this session as compared to using your trackpad, because with that you can actually zoom in to see the image, the years of images available. But today I'm not using a mouse, I'm using my touchpad. So I prefer to go by the date system here that we have here. Okay. There are clouds here, but I think we can do with this particular water imagery that we have. So that's 2000, 9th April. Now I'll turn this one off. Then you go to 2013. So click filter by location. Let me turn it on. Filter by location. Then click that particular area. So while it's loading, I can also load the Landsat 2 also there. But you turn it off. So Landsat also will also be loading up. Okay, so whilst it's loading, a question is posted in the chat. Which web browser would you recommend? Okay, so for the web browser, if you are using Mac, I've noticed that with Mac, Safari works best with all the tools that we have on the platform. But for generic, you can go for the Google Chrome. Google Chrome actually works best for everything with the map platform. Mozilla sometimes works, but sometimes also there are some glitches in it. So preferably to be able to use it and get most out of the platform is to actually use the Google Chrome for it. For all the works, because actually works best, it actually gives you the best performance. So I'll prefer, for what I've experienced, I'll prefer using the Google Chrome for Windows machines, even on Mac if you have Google Chrome. But on Mac, you can also use the Safari browser. But the Microsoft Edge, I noticed that there are some on and off also in between. So I'll also be happy to give to hand it over to you. If you have the chance to work around the maps, the browser to use, you can actually also look at it. Then next week when we come, please provide your feedbacks on the browsers. Any problem that you encounter when we are using different browser platform, Chrome, let us know. Then you can actually enhance that performance also for all of us, so that you don't actually stick to one browser, but for any browser. Okay, so right now that you have these areas, so you have the Sentinel. So the surface reflector for 2013 has also been loaded up. Then let's go to the surface reflectance for Sentinel. So right now that you have this area map loading, you can click on the share, copy the map, and I can share it with you. So once I click on the share, right now, once you click on that area, you're going to see what I've loaded. So you see all the images that I've loaded for these particular areas. Majaro, please, can you give us a background history about this area that you are looking?
Thank you for sharing the map. So it's one of the hydropower stations in Kenya. So I wanted to see how the areas around it, how it changes and if it affects the vegetation, because the primary role of this dam is for power generation amongst the other dams. Yes.
Thank you very much, Eileen. We also note that Eileen has a background in hydrology in the work she's specializing in. So this is the bias towards water, as we are biased towards the cities. So the example for Mole Pololo, I've put it in the chat for Kelabogi. It's a small city in Botswana.
Yeah, that's my hometown. I want to see how it was growing, because it's like one of the peri-urban areas next to Gaborone. So there's a lot of movement and a lot of people wanting to stay there from Gaborone, commuting to work in Gaborone.
Yeah, it looks very good from the maps. If Edward could allow me to share the screen just to see if I'm seeing the right thing today.
You can share your screen.
So it's very much similar to what Edward has presented, and it shows a lot of changes when you use the Landsat 5 and Landsat 8 because of the 30-meter pixel. Also, Edward has shown us very nice tools just to see if we could make use of these GeoMAD. And also in this, yes, Kelabogi. I was waiting for your comment. Oh, Edward, I was looking for this small trick, which I think I had seen it earlier with your example of having a double of the same data set. I was lucky at first. Now these one.
Okay. Ken, so click on the double three dots, the about data, opposite it, and click on the compare.
Oh yes, within itself. Oh, thank you. Oh yes.
Yes, so you get the two images, yes.
Yeah, so I was doing this purposely for this example. And this example shows that with the GeoMAD, just trying to show what Edward is doing, is that the GeoMAD is a summary of 3 years. So you could go to an earlier year at 10 meters, and you see how things look within the particular example of Kelabogi. And as Edward said, the browsers can challenge you or challenge each other. Then also sometimes you're not sure, you can always remove one side so that you see what's in the background and actually realize they had moved from the initial location. That's why this tip by Edward is important of locking the filter so that you can move in between two dates. And Kelabogi is quite right. Even within 3 years, there's a lot which has happened, as you can see from this image. Then, Edward, there was a small question on these data, if you're aware of the semi-annual, it's still experimental.
Yes, Ken, it's still experimental. Maybe very soon it will be ready, but
yes. Yeah, so this will be now every 6 months, which will be nice for everybody to try it out. And also, since Kelabogi was showing this example, as the last time we ended up with the same example of Gaborone, we could even use in one scene so that the laptop does not struggle. Just remove the compare and just go to the actual area and try to play around with the various indices as well. So if you are studying some urban growth, I've realized the near infrared somehow shows you a capture of the bare soil reflection. So you can get an idea of how the city is growing, just as an example. And if you don't want your eyes to struggle very much, I could do the same comparison with the previous one, and things might look slightly similar, but very interesting when you're looking at the changes. So this gives you an example of some of our experts who've tried to work with radar, how things happen in terms of reflection. If you go beyond the visible region, just to create some interest, then I can still remove the compare as we finalize on any questions. And you might not have enough time, and sometimes you're just interested in these indices. You can try them at once. There's a small dam near Gaborone. What is the name, Kelabogi? It's Gaborone Dam.
It's Gaborone Dam. Yeah, it's called Gaborone Dam.
So you can actually view it using any of the water indices. If you can choose, you can see how it's captured using the.
I think at one point there was no water for 17 years in the dam, and the city was struggling.
This will be interesting since Edward, we are still on this investigation of the data. Look at how things were looking. This will mean we go back to 19 something.
yes, Ken, you have to go back.
Okay, and trying to be, we see if you are lucky.
Yeah, it was between in the 20s, 20, yeah. When it was dry, it was for
okay. So
2001 until maybe 2017, somewhere there.
So Landsat 8 would be safer because I realize we have the striping issues around East Africa. Have any one of you noticed those issues?
So
yep.
Let's try the Landsat 5, but before 2003.
Okay.
To give us the image.
Yeah. Give us something.
Yeah, Landsat 7.
Oh yes, the Landsat 7, the one I was trying to avoid to use.
Yeah, I think before 2002, the images are very.
They were giving these striping errors, and they used to be very, very, very common in some areas we were looking at. So filter by this dam, and then you can see the stripes I was talking about. So you mentioned around 2000.
Well, it's that time I was not in the country. It was around 2006 when maybe it dried up until 2013, 14, 15, Yeah,
It's around 2007.
it was very dry for a long time.
Okay. Let's see how true things were looking. Looks like things were not so
2007, we get scan lines.
scan lines. They're also good
Yeah,
to see
2007.
clouds, possibility, really dry.
Yeah.
So most likely in between 27 and okay. We'll look at it using this link, so I can as well as share.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We can do it later.
Yes. Actually, Edward had another idea of using the sandbox water extend at some point, and the time was not enough for everybody. So now we are taking any comments or last feedback, or even tell us something that you'd like to see next week so that we can prepare for you. And welcome those who've joined us, Bashiru and Stella. Welcome so much to this class. Any comments before we close discussion today?